Hi guys, this is Rachel Youngson here from useplr.com and wholefoodplr.com. We are here with our weekly PLR Power Hour. Today we're going to be doing something really exciting. Today we are going to be taking our PLR and organizing it, breaking it down, and working up a schedule. The hope is that everyone will be able to do this together as a group so that all of us can kind of tackle that beast, so to speak, and excuse me, get plans together for how we're going to proceed with our PLR. All of the PLR that I've pulled for our examples today are packs that we have over at wholefoodplr.com. So if you're in the health niche and any of them suit you, please feel free to head over there and grab the pack so that you can get PLR rights to it. Okay, well, I see we have a lot of folks here today, which is really great. Makes me very excited. Hi, Tara. It's good to see you here today. Before we get started, anyone who's newer, just so you know, if you're brand new to PLR, we have a lot of free reports over at useplr.com that will walk you through what PLR is and how you can use it to grow your business. We also have a great report that shows you how to take free PLR and use that to start earning money. So that's one that I'd really recommend. And again, all that's over at useplr.com. Yeah, Tara, I noticed that this is your first time. Welcome, welcome. We actually have a few first timers here today, so I'm really happy that you guys are here, and please let us know if we can help you with anything. What we're trying to do here is just kind of build a community of folks who use PLR and maybe don't use it as effectively as they would like to, or who would like to learn new and different ways to use it. So please let us know if there's ever anything we can help you with, regardless of whether it's a power hour time or not. I can always be reached at rachel@useplr.com between power hours. Okay, guys, so the first thing I want to do before we get into our demonstration / working group is I'd like to touch base with anyone who wants to touch base today, just to see what we're doing in your business and what's going on and what exciting things you've got going on. And if you don't have anything, you just want to chat, that's okay too. So if you guys wouldn't mind, there should be a chat box. If you hover over the bottom of your screen, there should be an option for a chat to appear. And if you would just select that and let me know in the chat box if you would like to lurk today. So just write the word lurk in the chat box and we will not call on you. Some folks like to do it because they're working while they're working, and that's totally okay. Other folks are just really carving out this time to work on their PLR, and they don't really need to talk to anybody about anything, but they just want to put it to work, and that's fine too. Okay, sure, Bill. Yes, Carol. Carol says she doesn't have anything to say today, but she's really eager to work with Trello. I am too, Carol, and I'm really grateful to you actually, because last week you sparked this topic for us by what we what we were discussing last week. Jen is finishing up her details for tomorrow's launch. No, Jen, we don't need to talk, but guys, keep an eye on Jen Brockman over at Planning Addicts, because she releases really good stuff, and apparently she's about to release something tomorrow. Tara, no, that's fine. That's fine. You do whatever you want to do. That's great. Okay, guys, so does anyone want to talk? Maybe I should just do that, because I definitely don't want to miss anyone, and I have a lot of lurkers that I'm trying to kind of make sure I don't miss anybody. Greg, you could learn about Trello. Greg, before we dive into that, did you want to talk about, you and I discussed Instagram last week, is that right? I believe we did. I've got sick brain, so please, if I'm wrong, just let me know. Okay. Were you able to set that up, to set up the account? Or if not, it's okay. I mean, this is your business. I'm kind of curious if, what I'd like to do is, when you do get that account set up, I would like to share it with our audience, because we do have a lot of folks who are in the in various niches, and maybe you guys can connect. Yeah, no worries. Greg says other things happened, which Always happens. I get you. It happens to me all the time. As you guys can tell by the fact that I've had to cancel 2 power hours like last minute. I completely get that. But yeah, just let me know when you have it, and I would love to share it with our Facebook group and in our email for a few days as well, just to kind of help you get that traction with other folks. All right, guys. So as you guys can see on my screen right now, if anybody can't see it, let me know. This is a Trello board. If you don't have a Trello account, they are free. And I would recommend right now going over to Trello.com and registering for a free account. There is a premium version of the account, but I honestly am able to use it without that premium version. And actually, even my business coach, who uses it much more in depth than myself, she uses it without that premium version as well. So I am assuming that a lot of things can be done on Trello that don't require any kind of payment because, like I said, she uses it much more in depth than what I do. Tara wants to know what the name of our Facebook group is. That is facebook.com/useplr. That's our Facebook page. And also, we over at Jen Brockman has a wonderful Facebook group, which is a closed group, and we use that to discuss our replays, and people can ask questions and things like that. Jen, would you mind throwing that link in the chat if you can? I'm sorry, I know you're busy. Hi, Lori. Good to see you today. I'm going to go ahead and mute you, Lori, just for now. If you wouldn't mind letting me know in the chat box, would you like to talk today about anything specific before we get started with our demo? Charlene, it's great to see you. Hi, Charlene. Thank you, Jen. Jen's going to go ahead and drop the link for our Facebook group in the box. So what this is this is actually Jen's group that she was nice enough to open up to our Use PLR viewers who go to our PLR Power Hour, because between the Power Hours we have, questions get asked and people want to connect with each other, but they aren't able to actually make the actual Power Hour. So what Jen did was she was really nice and she opened up her own group for that, and we're really appreciative of that. So go ahead and, excuse me, if you want to connect between Power Hours, please go ahead and log on or join her group, and she will get you approved when she has a second. Like I said, it's the day before launch. The replay won't be available till tomorrow anyway. Okay. Thanks, Jen. Jen says she loves the Power Hour and she loves me, which is super sweet and kind of gives me the warm and fuzzies. I appreciate it, Jen. Thank you. Oh, hey, Greg, don't worry about it. We all have internet problems sometimes. If it's easier for you to just check in with the replay, that's fine too. Whatever you need, and you know how it goes. If you need anything between meetings, let me know, and we'll get it taken care of. But no inconvenience at all. We all deal with it. Hi, Kathy. It's good to see you today. I know there's somebody else new that I didn't get a chance to say hi to. Can't find that person. Okay, so all right, guys. So what we've already just started discussing is that this is Trello.com. There are free versions of Trello and paid versions. I would recommend the free version. You can do a lot with the free version without, of course, needing to spend any money. And isn't that what we all want to do, is not spend any money? So one thing that I asked everyone to do before they came on today, and if you didn't get a chance to, that's totally okay, is to make a folder on your desktop that showcases PLR to use. So what I did before we started here is I just created a folder on my desktop. I literally named it PLR to use, and then I dropped in, excuse me, I dropped in some of our whole food PLR packs so that we had something to work with. And if I had other niches. Hi, Sandra. Good to see you today. So if I have other niches here, then what I would do is I would have, let's say that I have the IM niches, excuse me, and health niche. So I would have all these folders, and then I'd make generic niches here. And again, this is just my way my line of thinking. If you guys think of anything different, please feel free to share it in the chat box because we are learning as a group. So I would take all of my health stuff and I would put it in this health folder right here. And if I had IM PLR in this giant PLR to use folder, I'd put it in the IM folder and that kind of thing. So now we have our health folder, and I'm basically going to look at this and see what we have. So if we had anything that was, let's say that we had whole food PLR and paleo PLR and fitness PLR, I would make a folder for each of those. So for instance, right now we only have paleo PLR. So excuse me. But I would, so do you guys kind of see what I'm doing? I'm taking this, I'm recommending that we take all of our PLR and we throw it in a big folder. Don't worry about organizing it, but then we start drilling it down. So when you click into the health folder, you'll know, okay, this is anti-aging, this is depression, this is different types of foods, this is, you know, motivation PLR. And then you can drill down from that. So you're basically kind of taking this big beast of all your PLR and we're simplifying it as much as we possibly can. Yep, Charlene says she would do health food and health fitness. Exactly right, Charlene. So for today, we have, excuse my frog voice. So what we have today is our, I'm going to delete this because we're not actually going to be using it, our paleo packs. So what we're going to do is now we are going to go over to Trello and we're going to organize these packs. Okay, so I'm going to open up Trello on one side of my screen. I have a board in Trello that is just for PLR. So does anyone have any questions on how to create a board in Trello before we move on? It only takes a second. And guys, just looking back at what Charlene said. So here's how Charlene is recommending that we drill those folders down a little bit more. You see how that goes? So break it into food and fitness, and anti-aging would be health-anti-aging. Then you can go even further. Like if you go into food, you can have a folder for paleo, a folder for Whole30. If you do gluten-free or keto, you can have folders for those. You just drill it really, really far down. Okay, great. Sandra said she didn't have any issues creating. Jen, you stinker. Sandra said she did not have any issues creating a board. If any of you have any issues, please let me know. Okay, Greg, no problem. So Jen says my new name should be Froggy. So so anyone who wants to send Jen hate mail, stay tuned after the webinar. I'll get you her personal email address. Just kidding. All right, Greg. So when you're at your main screen, you see this boards here. Let me move this out of my way. Excuse me. Up at the top, you click on boards, and then here you have create new board. Then you give it a name, and after you name it, it will appear over here on the right-hand side. Now, I would recommend naming it PLR to use. And once you create the board, you have, I believe they default to three columns. I would just click to rename the columns, and I would name them new PLR. Last week we did PLR that I have, but I would do working PLR. And then maybe make this one archive used PLR. So that way we have a column for everything. So now what I would do is I would do a little snap screen. I know, right? I want to give, hey, Joyce, no problem at all. Welcome. If you have any questions as we're going along or you feel like you missed anything, please let me know and we'll get you taken care of. Jen says she wants to give me some chicken noodle soup. So that's a good idea too, guys. So stay tuned for my personal email address so you can PayPal me some chicken noodle soup. Anyway, so, all right, so now I'm just going to double screen it because I really, like, I do click between screens when I need to, but for stuff like this, I kind of like to have everything on one screen. And of course, if you are lucky enough to have two monitors, then you just do that because that's much easier. All right, so all of this would be considered new PLR. So Paleo Quick Start. And for anyone, I'm just copying what's up here. Anyone who came in after we started, if you are interested in any of these packs, we have them over at our Whole Food PLR site. These are actual bundles that we carry. Okay, so now we've got 5 cards here. Each card is based on this guy over here. So back to if we have different niches or different sub-niches, you can label your cards. So for instance, I can create a card and say, call it Paleo Kids, let's say. Then I can go here, edit label, and I can make this a purple card. And that way I know that anything that deals with kids and paleo is going to fall under this purple card right here. So I have Paleo Kids Lunchbox. Paleo Picnic, just because I've already looked at that pack, I know what it is. That targets children and as well. So now I know these are where my kids' paleo things are. We could also make one for paleo and money, weight loss, and yeah, that could stay just like that. So one thing that I like to do is I like to, whenever I deal with money, this is something I do on my business too. Any emails that I have that deal with money, anything on my boards that have to deal with money, they're all labeled green because that's the color of money, obviously. So what I would do now is Paleo on a Budget deals with paleo and money. Weight loss and paleo. Excuse me. Edit label. Let's make that yellow. And then we'll put Paleo Quick Start there and paleo weight loss. All right. So now we have everything drilled down to the point that we can look at this and we can say, okay, well, here's all of our paleo PLR. This is everything that has to do with kids and paleo is here. Everything that has to do with money, everything that has to do with weight loss is there. So now what we want to do is we want to say, okay, well, what would be the best structure to have someone come into our fold, so to speak, and learn about paleo? So, I mean, if we started with something like paleo for weight loss, that would be great. And yes, that would show them how to lose weight. But if we started with that, would they be interested in a Paleo Quick Start Guide, which is a smaller bundle? Would they be interested in something like that if they've already got the keys, so to speak, to weight loss? Not likely. So The other thing I recommend is over here in our working PLR folder, we figure out what order we want to place these cards in. So personally, and this is just a personal decision, this is just, you might feel something different and that's totally okay. Personally, for me, what I would want to do is I would want to touch on everything with Paleo Kids before I moved on to Paleo and Money. And same here, everything in this category before I move on to this category. Because what I find in my own business is that when you talk about something and then you move on to something else, it doesn't really confuse your readers, but it kind of, to me, it kind of lessens your chance to truly capitalize on what you're currently talking about. That's not talking about like people who you have PLR and then you get new PLR on the same topic and you do an update to a course or you release something similar. That's not talking about that. But I'm saying if you already have it here, I would use it. I would use it before I moved on. And that's, like I said, a personal choice, but I think it's a great choice personally. So over here in the working PLR section, the first thing I would want to do is say, okay, well, we have people who are brand new Paleo people. What are we going to do here? Well, we might want to start with something a little bit generic. And this Paleo Quick Start is perfect for that. That's a $14.95 pack. It's much smaller than the other packs, and it really kind of quickly goes over what you need to get started quickly, obviously, and Paleo. So I would move that over here to number 1. And because it's going to be number 1, I would put it as number 1. And again, guys, if you have any questions while I'm going over this, please feel free to, excuse me, please don't be shy. Okay, so after they learn about the quick start in Paleo, what would be my next concern? So I've already determined that I feel like the most valuable thing that I can teach them is this Paleo for weight loss. So I've already determined that's going to be the last thing that I want to teach them. But what would be the next thing that they might want to learn about? Well, if it was me, I would be concerned about budgeting next, because anytime I'm a mom, I have a family, anytime something financial happens or any change happens that involves something financial, that's the first thing that goes through my mind. And I think that a lot of families do the same thing. So Sandra is asking a great question. She asked if this is for folks who are creating PLR or for folks who are using PLR. Sandra, this is for folks who are using PLR, like yourself, and want a way to organize what they already have. The reason that I used my own PLR content that I created for this is because a lot of my community is in the health niche, and that's based on that and based on the fact that I had instant access to these bundles because I already created them and I get it, like as far as I know what's in everything. That's why I chose these. But yes, this is totally for people who are using PLR, not creating PLR. So based on the fact that the next thing I would be worried about would, sure, Sandra. Jen says that this could probably be used for people who are creating PLR too. And I think, yeah, Jen, I think you're right. I think it could be, definitely. Maybe a few tweaks here and there, but yeah, definitely. So the next thing I would do is Paleo on a budget. Because why? Because money matters to mamas. So, and I am a mama, and I really feel like everybody or most people in my community feel that way. If you're starting something new, your instant thought is, what am I going to do? Like, financially, how is this going to affect me? So one thing that I would go to after that is Paleo and family. And the reason that that would be my next is because if you're going to change your lifestyle, it's easiest to have your family on board. Now, if I had many other options over here, I might do something else. But because I already know that weight loss is going to be my big thing, my hurrah finale kind of thing, I'm going to make sure that I get all these other things touched first. So Paleo Kids Lunchbox and Paleo Picnic would go over here next. And I would probably do Paleo Picnic first. And down here in the description or even in the comments, I would make a note to tweak this towards family. So that way I kind of have a reminder, this is what I want to do with that. Sandra says she's never heard of Trello. It's going to be really helpful for her. I'm really glad, Sandra, because, you know, I was telling everyone last week that I had heard of Trello actually, but I hadn't used it for like ever. And it wasn't until my business coach was using it a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of neat what she's doing with it. And I was like, oh, wow, you can actually do stuff with this. So yeah, I'm really glad that you like it, because I like it too, and I think it's going to be really helpful. So in the description here, we have Paleo Kids Lunchbox. So we know that's about, well, I know that's about kids in school lunch. Is there any other way that I might want to tweak that though? Well, I might want to maybe easy meals or on the go. Because if you're packing your kid's lunchbox, all parents can attest to this, you want to make sure that you're packing something that's easy to pick up and go. So that would work to change this to maybe easy meals on the go for your new title or something like that. But this way you can kind of keep with the theme of getting started with paleo and you know, bringing your family into this lifestyle and easy ways to get everybody on the same page. And then, of course, lastly, would be paleo for weight loss. All right, so now we have everything over here in our working PLR. We have everything numbered. This is what I'm going to do first, second, third. There's no questions. So you just, like, in what, 10 minutes time, we've just figured out everything that we've just figured out our next 5 pack releases. But of course, you know that you want to do this, you want to go down even further now. So now what we're going to do is go into pack 1, and then I'll come over here. Here's the quick start. All right, so there's a few things you can do here. You can either list in the description what you have, which might be the most beneficial for people. So that's what I'll do, just because I think that's what most people would probably want to see done. Excuse me. Or you could also just make a checklist, and we'll do that in a second too, and go over, like, this is what I want to change, this is what I want to do, without having this whole description up here about what everything is. So it's really kind of your choice. But either way, now that we know what's up here, we can go over here. There's a checklist. You can title it anything you want. I usually just title it checklist because it's generally my only one, but you can put multiple checklists in here, actually. So actually, let's do this. So this is, we're going to do checklist for articles, and then maybe we'll do another checklist for product images. Maybe we'll do another one for report. A checklist for the checklist. Checklist for your special images. And we should do a checklist for that report optim page. All right, so now that I have these here, I can also move them around. So I can put this report optim page with the report. I can organize this so that the things that are going to be the easiest go first, or the things that are going to be the hardest for me go first. Charlene brings up a really great point. She says that this is an excellent way to outline the workflow for anyone who's either creating PLR or wants to use PLR. And when you have a process in place, it's much easier. All you do is find your Trello board and get to work. That is totally right, Charlene. My business coach actually the other week was showing me this, not this, but she was showing me what she and her team do. And she was saying the exact same thing. They have a checklist. I don't know. I think you can do this, but I don't know exactly how. You can copy the checklist, I believe, and move it to different boards or different cards and things like that. So whatever her process is, though, I know that she just lathers, rinse, repeats, and that's it. And she actually has a team. She invites her team members to the board so that they can see and they can make entries and they can say, this is what I'm working on, and that kind of thing. So, and again, just to remind everybody, she does not pay for this. So this is a really great team tool for her. For anyone who is starting to outsource or going on that journey, this is a great way to kind of keep your whole team in check. Excuse me, without having to like go through a bunch of hoops and learn a bunch of complicated things or pay for something pricey. So, okay, so like for our articles checklist, let's see, let's say that I want to be sure that I add personal stories. And this is going to be different for everyone. But these are just a few ways to make what you have your own and kind of personalize it. Excuse me, share maybe reviews, opinions, or famous quotes. Add stats. And then maybe you can share stories or ask your audience. To share related stories. You can also break these articles into quick little checklists that you can have as downloadable material at the end of your blog post, or excuse me, as an opt-in gift. So you could say turn article into checklist steps. You can create a video from the article. You guys get the point. So essentially this checklist is going to cover everything that you want to do with the articles. You could sit here all day and go over things that you could possibly do, you know, but if that's not what you're going to do, or that's not something that's feasible for you in getting that product out, then I wouldn't even bother with it. I would just stick to the things that you think that you're going to be able to do with your articles. So always, always, always add a personal story. Always add your personal touch. The report checklist. One thing that I always tell folks is that I think it's a great idea to change the title of the report. So we're going to change the report title. Maybe add additional images or change the current images. Let's make a note here, because we do have those social images. We can use social images if possible, so that we're not going all over God's creation trying to find what we need. I would also add more personal stories. So, or how everything relates to you. Excuse me. I would be sure to make an About Me page. And that's going to be a page that talks about who you are, what you do, and your website. I would always recommend change the footer to your website and your name, along with the page number. And I would have a resource page as well as a conclusion page. Resources would be affiliate links, everything mentioned in the guide. And on that note, you do want to be sure that when you're changing up the guide, you add affiliate links wherever possible. You can do that way up here, so that when you start doing everything, you kind of know this is actually right up here. When you start actually working with the wording, you know this is something that I want to do with this. Okay, so with the opt-in page, download Elementor, and I would review Rachel's meeting with Kate. I'm using Elementor because, as some of you know, I am not Elementor skilled, but I know who is. So, and you can find that on the Use PLR YouTube channel. Let's see. Organizing the checklist. What can you do with the checklist? Well, you can change the title. You can add new image. Maybe you can turn checklist into video. Maybe you could, excuse me, add checklist points to social images. And then you go down to your product images. I always recommend that you change your product image along with the product image title. You don't have to, of course. PLR is yours. It's yours to do what you want with. But personally, I feel like the easiest way to put your PLR to use quickly is to kind of change the wrapping paper, so to speak, and throw a few personal things in in the bundle itself and then get it out there. If you're worried about, you know, myself and Betsy have the same niche, and I know that some of my clients are clients of Betsy's as well, you know, and I've used this PLR, maybe they'll realize it's PLR, then these are simple steps that are quick and easy, and they can be used to kind of alleviate that. One thing that I should mention is I use eCover Authority to create my eCovers. And I will get you guys a link for that as soon as I'm finished up here. Let's see. Social images. I use Canva. This is a free site. So I can either add new wording to the original images, or I can add filters to completed images. And let me explain this to you. So many PLR writers, what they'll do when they give you images is they'll give you both the original image as well as the social media version of the image. So for instance, when I create something for my clients and I get an image, I have the original image in the pack, but I also, whatever I've created for them to throw on social media, which will usually be the same image cropped a different way with maybe a little filter on it, wording on it, then they'll get both of those things so that way they can use them as they see fit. And of course, the super easy way to kind of make anything unique to yourself is to add filters to completed images. Last week, someone had mentioned possibly putting your website on the images, and that's totally, as long as your images are royalty free, that's completely fine. I mean, that's, as long as you have rights to those images, you can do whatever you need to do with them. If you have any questions on whether something is royalty free or not, our guide over at Use PLR, which is PLR to social media images, will have further information on that for you so that you can kind of see what's royalty free and whatnot. So once I've done all of this, now I have a plan. Now I have like a plan of action. This is what I'm going to do with this pack. So what I'll do then is I'll go to my next card and I'll do the same thing. I'll write down everything that's in here that is a part of that pack. I'll make a checklist for every piece of that pack, and then I'll go down and I'll figure out what I'm going to do with each piece. Excuse me, guys, just a sec. Of what I'm going to do with each piece. So I'm going to do this for every single pack here. So now what we have is we have our packs in order of how we're going to release them. We have a plan of attack for every single pack. And it's really now just a matter of putting everything into place. So one thing that we talked about a little bit the other week is scheduling your releases. Some people choose to schedule like a release a month or 2 releases a month. For anyone who knows Jen, she makes like 1 billion releases every month. So she put some of us to shame because she's really good at releasing stuff very fast. But whatever works for you, I would really recommend that you create a schedule for yourself. Because if you have a schedule in advance, then you know what you want to do. You kind of have that plan of attack for yourself. So let's see. I do believe there's a due date right here. So let's say I want to have this first pack completed by the 26th. All right, so now I know that's due on the 26th, and then I'll do the same thing for this one. And this one might be, I don't know, March 2nd. So I go over to March 2nd, save, and then save again. and so on. So now I know this is when I want this to be released, this to be released, this to be released. Now I know this is the due date, so I'll go up to this. I see my due date right here at the top. So now what I want to do is I want to structure everything so that I know between now and then, this is what I need to get done, and this is how I'm going to get it done. So we already have our steps here, but now we want to know, okay, well, if we're going to have this whole thing done by the 28th, and today is what, like the 19th, when are we going to have the articles done? When are we going to have the checklist report done? The report opt-in page and all that kind of stuff. You have to take into consideration, how long is it going to take me to do this? How long is it, what's feasible, a feasible amount of time for X, Y, Z. So then I would go through each checklist, and I would give each thing a due date. And again, guys, I am not claiming to be like a Trello guru. All I'm saying is, hey, this is what I feel will work for me, and this might work for you too. If you have different ideas, please feel free to share them in the chat box, because I think that as a group, it would be great for us to bounce things off of each other. So if I click on the articles, I can give this like its personal due date. Let's say 23rd. Let's say I'm giving myself 3 days to do that. I can do this and this in the same day. So I can say this is due maybe the 22nd. This is due on the 22nd. And again, going back to Charlene's comment about lather, rinse, repeat, once you kind of start getting a feel for these things and how long it takes you to make each piece of this PLR unique and to get it working for you, then you'll be able to, at that point, know, okay, well, it generally takes me 5 days to rewrite a report. So depending on how much work I want to do with it. So even if you only do minimal work, you want to give yourself that 5 days to be sure that you're covered. That's a huge thing. Always be sure that you're covered. CYA is what people that I used to work with call it, and basically means cover your booty. So that's the name of the game, because there's nothing worse than especially when you start reaching out to affiliates, when you tell somebody that there's a product that's ready or that you're about to launch, and then it's not ready at that time. So you really kind of want to minimize your risk in that. So Jen says she just puts things out as she gets it done, which is really great because you do it much faster than I do. So good on you, Jen. Charlene said she was a member of a venture capital group who used Trello, which is really cool. And pitch decks and notes and all that cool stuff. And she says you would move your pitch deck to the appropriate board when it was dealt with. Which is, thank you, Charlene, for letting us know that. That's a really, that's goes back to how easy this is to use, guys. So once we know when everything is due, then we just do it. And that's really as easy as that is. And then you move on to the next, then you move on to the next, then you move on to the next. So the other thing I should tell you guys really quick is if you are courting affiliates, I recommend that you start reaching out to affiliates 6 weeks before your product actually launches. So most people will have, before they start courting affiliates, and again, it's your business, it's how you choose to run it, but to avoid that experience of not having the product ready on time, I know a lot of PLR sellers, for instance, who will have the majority of it done before they start reaching out to folks. Enough of it done that it's essentially ready. It's just being tweaked. I also know other PLR sellers who start reaching out to people, and they kind of they work best under that pressure. So it's really what's best for you. But personally, I recommend having your product in hand, reaching out to folks 6 weeks ahead of time, then again, touching base 3 weeks, touching base 2 weeks, touching base 1 week, touching base the day before, and then the day of making a we're live touch base. I also recommend, of course, having a JV page where people can sign up to get notifications of your launches. That's really great, so that for you especially, so you don't have to, you can send one email to a group of people as opposed to trying to reach out to people individually all the time. And the last thing I would recommend if you're going the affiliate route is, excuse me. Sorry about that. What was I saying? The last thing that I would recommend if you're going the affiliate route is, I'm sorry guys, I blanked. I don't even remember. Okay, Charlene has a great question. She says, how big does a product have to be to warrant a launch? Oh, I'm sorry. I remembered that. Thank you, Charlene. You reminded me. The last thing I would recommend if you're courting affiliates is to have a review copy of your material ready to give to them so that they can see what they're going to be giving to their customers. A lot of people do not want to work with someone that they don't personally know or they don't have a history with. And if neither of those things happen, then you really need to make sure that you can court them and kind of woo them and make them feel safe giving their clients to you. So how big does a product have to be to warrant a launch? I believe you can warrant a launch with anything. I mean, and that's just me. I personally, as a PLR seller, I make bundles before I launch them. But that's me, and that's kind of what seems to work for my group. I know some folks, Rachel Rothe, for instance, she has training on mugs, and doing mugs, and her product is essentially just a bunch of videos. Or when it started, I guess, it was just a bunch of videos. And I know she launched with that. And so it really kind of depends on where you are. I would consider, first of all, the prospective affiliates that you're going to be looking at, because a lot of times when we launch something, especially if we are just starting to get our own community built up, we rely on affiliate connections to help us build our own communities. And one thing that you want to do is make something, Alice Siva says, make it so good that they can't say no. And that's in regards to the customers. So make it so good that if a customer looked at it and they've never heard of you before, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm getting so much stuff. I'm getting this huge value. Even if it's not a lot of pieces, it's a huge value. I really want this. And I think it's the same for affiliates. I know that, like, if I'm going to promote something, I am very careful about how my affiliates will, see things, and I always try to look at how my clients will see things. And I always try to look at things as, is this going to be suitable for my community? Is this something that my community could really use? Is this, would I want to use this if if XYZ was, something that I was dealing with? Jen says over deliver. I think she's just nailed down in a nutshell what I would say. Always over deliver. Always, always. But there's no real set rule on what would warrant a launch. It really depends on if your information is valuable. And also, if we're talking about a big launch too, it also depends on who the affiliates are going to be, and making sure that you court them correctly and have something in place that you think would be valuable for them to mail to their list about. And like even your own, like launching on your own website, you can just launch a checklist. I mean, there's really no like set guidebook. Jen says she believes it depends on your niche, which is a good point too. I mean, Jen delivers these planners and journals for anyone who doesn't know, and they're really nice and they're big, but I've seen things launched that are bigger. You know, no offense, Jen, but I mean, like I've seen like J.R. Lang, she launches things on JVZoo with 350 pieces of content. You know, that's a huge amount of content, and it's all good stuff. But just because she does that doesn't mean that Jen doesn't have a group of a community that likes planners and journals who wouldn't be more than happy to spend money for planners and journals. You know, it really all kind of, you know, goes. Yeah, like Jen says, she says her community personally would be overwhelmed by a huge pack like that, a huge 350 piece pack with reports and such, you know. But I know a lot of people, like a lot of people in my community, for instance, love JR stuff. Like they like scoop it up like it's like there's no tomorrow, you know. And so, you know, I guess over deliver, and it depends on your niche. And there's really no set, you know, guide as far as I need XYZ in order to launch. If you're trying to do a big launch, though, I would definitely consider who you want to be an affiliate for that launch and what you think that they would deem this is something I'd feel comfortable sharing to my list. All right, so I told you guys that I would be getting you some links. So one thing that we covered today was eCover Authority. So I will go ahead and let me check on the time real quick. Oh my gosh, it's almost 2 o'clock. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just sitting here chit-chatting. Charlene says she loves eCover Authority. So guys, I'm going to just grab you that link really quick. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And for anyone who is looking at my, who's curious, I use Pretty Links. All right, so, and Charlene says it's set up so that you don't have any issues with creating your images. It's so true, Charlene. Like you can crop it, you can make like disk images, report covers. It's really amazing, guys. It's so affordable. And you only pay for it once and use it forever. The other thing I recommend is canva.com is what we talked about today. That's a free site. eCover Authority is paid. Canva is a free site. It helps you to create your social media images. And there's a paid version, but I only use the free, and I've never had an issue. And of course, we built our boards today with Trello.com. So before we wrap up, does anyone have any questions or things that they want to talk about before we wrap up? And anyone I didn't get a chance to say hi to today, Audrey, hello, it's good to see you today. Hi, Kim, it's good to see you today. So does anyone have anything pressing, any questions or comments? If you do, please throw them in the chat box, and we will get them taken care of before we scoot today. Carol says, thank you. She's going to be watching the replay to absorb more. That's great, Carol. Greg says, with a larger package, would you break it down into separate boards? Hi, Greg. Typically, you know what? I probably would not. I would probably list every single, not every piece of what she has, but so for instance, I know she does videos and reports and opt-in pages, and that's typically part of her structure. So I would have a checklist for videos, a checklist for reports, a checklist for opt-in pages. And then maybe I would break that down, like report number 1, report number 2, report number 3, what I need to do with that. But I don't think that I would make separate boards for that now. Sandra, thank you. I love gratitude lists. Sandra says that I'm going on her gratitude list today. Thank you very much, Sandra. So guys, I would really like to let you guys know that how much I appreciate you all coming today. Also, please join the Facebook group, Jen's Facebook group, so that we can chat about this a little bit more once the replay is up. And also, big deal, please, if you have anything that you want to see, let me know and we'll do it. We'll go over it as a group. We'll do it together. So you can find me there. You can also find me at rachel@useplr.com. You're more than welcome, Kathy. You're more than welcome. Oh, sure, Tara. Tara says she's enjoyed it, but she thinks she needs to rewatch it. No problem, Tara. It's a lot, especially if you're brand new to Trello. I totally get it. Sandra asked what the Facebook group is. Sandra, we're going to go ahead and put that link back in the chat box for you. Give me just 1 second to grab it. And just so you guys know, this is a reminder. This is our Jen Brockman, our guest, Jen Brockman. Look at Greg. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Jen. See, look, everybody's more on the ball than I am. All right, guys. So, all right. So I will see you guys next week, 1 o'clock. Please, let's chat in the Facebook group. Please shoot me over there. Don't shoot me over there. Please catch up with me over there. Let me know what you want to see, and we will definitely figure it out and work it out and do it for you guys. And if you need to get in touch with me personally, Rachel@useplr.com. I know Greg, right? I am just a mess today. All right, guys. Have a great one. I'll see you next week.